I'm Richard Stoyeck of StocksAtBottom.com. Let's talk about real estate prices. What used to happen is this. People would buy a house, they'd put 20% down, they'd put their money into the house, and over a period of years they'd have an equity buildup. The house would inevitably go up in value, they would have appreciation in the house, and someday, 30 years later, the house will have tripled or quadrupled in value off the original purchase price of the house. They would then sell it, settle an estate, pay their taxes, and move on to their retirement years. 20 years ago, and this basically worked from probably the Great Depression back in 1930s all the way on up until the current year, probably around 2007. This was a great way to save money, great way to make money, and your house was usually your biggest investment, and it's where you scored the biggest return for yourself. But about 20 years ago, they came out with home equity loans. And this allowed people for the first time to begin to withdraw some of the capital appreciation that had accrued in the house over a period of decades while you owned it. Prior to the creation of those home equity loans, the only way you would get your money out of a house was to actually sell it. So you had tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of appreciation built up in houses up until about 20 years ago that could not be taken out unless the house was sold. Home equity loans came into effect, and then you were able to take out appreciation. Now, in the last 6-7 years, we've had the creation of other kinds of mortgage loans and so forth, which have also allowed people to take out money. And what we're looking at now for the first time, and this is the first time since World War II, is we're going to have the first year, 2007, where there's been a decline in real estate prices on a national level. Again, this is the first time that this has happened over 60 years at this point. And the reason for that is over the last 7 years, from about 1999 until 2006, 2007, is we've had such a radical run-up in real estate prices that there's always a price to pay when you have a run-up like this. We've actually, what some people, economists, would refer to as a bubble has taken place. And therefore, we've got to work our way through the bubble. Now, what we think will happen is this. We don't see many buyers out there for real estate right now. So the buyers have dried up, and you have sellers who are attempting to sell. The sellers are still thinking in terms of the old prices that they got for the houses a year or two ago. They don't realize that those prices have changed. They're down. But a new market level, a new market equilibrium has not taken place yet. That will probably be established sometime in 2008 when the sellers realize that those prices, that those previous highs that they saw over the last year or two, they're just not there anymore. And somebody out there with a house for sale who's reluctant to sell, there'll be an estate settlement, there'll be a marriage and a divorce, whatever it will be, that will force the sale of the house. And that will start to establish a new level at which houses will trade in this country. Then over the next year or two, as we wash through the tremendous supply of housing that's out there that has to be eaten through before we can start the ascent again, that probably takes at least 1, sometimes 2 years. Conceivably, it could take 3 years before the real estate market takes off again from whatever level we go to adjust from where we are today. So hopefully this has been helpful to you, and now you know what to do in terms of whether you should be a buyer or seller of real estate out there. Thank you, and for more on this topic, visit our website.